Hello, I'm Tijani Musa.
And I'm Yasmin Musa, and this is how we're doing it.
Welcome to our How We're Doing It. Here we share stories about our journey and experiences of being first-generation college graduates, our family, buying our first home, moving across the country, and living a debt-free lifestyle. We do so in an authentic, fun, and educational way to help other first-generation immigrants with similar paths. So today on this episode, we are going to talk to you about what?
Why we even started this podcast.
I like that topic. This is called an introduction topic. So, what is your name and what's your family heritage?
My name is Yasmin.
Uh-huh.
I am from Veracruz, Mexico.
Okay.
I was born there.
All right.
And I lived there until I was about 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then my family came to the United States in 2001.
Wow. 2001. Was that before or after 9/11?
It was right before 9/11. My spring of 2001 is when my mom, my sister, and I came. My dad had been here since about 2000, a year before us.
Okay.
And my first year in school here was third grade. And I remember, this is wild.
Okay. Talk to me about it.
Well, 9/11 happened and my teacher put the news on TV. Imagine if a parent did that nowadays.
Oh, they're going to jail.
Yeah. I didn't realize the impact that was, I was a child and I didn't realize the magnitude of what that meant for the country or anything like that. But I remember my family in Mexico, my abuelitos were my grandparents. They were very scared and they told my mom, you need to come back, bring the kids. Like, you guys should not be over there. It's not safe. Just come back home.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you are from Veracruz, Mexico, and you came to the United States back in 2001, and you resided where?
I lived in Virginia. I had an uncle who had settled in Virginia, and he's the one that helped get my dad over here. And my dad found work in Woodbridge, and that's where we lived, Woodbridge, Manassas area. I went to Prince William County schools, graduated from there, and then I stayed local by going to George Mason.
Okay. George Mason University. That's awesome. All right. Yeah. I like George Mason University.
So tell me about yourself. Like, what's your background, family, all that?
That's a good question. Thank you very much. I am originally from West Africa, Sierra Leone. It's a small country in West Africa. And my family and I moved to the United States or immigrated here due to a horrific civil war that happened back in the 90s. And as a young boy growing up, I experienced firsthand the civil war that happened, devastated a whole country, displaced, many people killed, tortured, abused, abducted, young children, rape, all the negative thing associated with war. Young boy coming up experienced some of those, and my family was fortunate to immigrate to the United States through a refugee program initiated by my eldest brother who was residing in the United States at the time. And so we immigrated here 2005, and we went to Virginia as well. We've lived in Virginia since immigrating to the United States. I started life in Virginia in the middle school grades, and from middle school went to high school there, went to university in Virginia, and eventually graduated from also George Mason University. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how I became.
That's how we met. It's at George Mason. We were both identified by the Early Identification Program,
right,
which is a program that's run through George Mason University, where they identify first-generation students that looked like they have the potential to go to college.
Yeah.
And we were identified as like 8th graders.
Yep. Yep. Back in the days.
Way back in the day. And I think EIP was the reason, why I was so successful in high school.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
even as a college student.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it was through the program that we met too, because we were technically in each other's lives since middle school, but we didn't really know each other. Like I knew of you. I knew you were an EIP student, but I didn't know you.
Right. Are you calling EIP a matchmaker?
You could say that.
So it helped you with a degree, and then also it helped connected us.
You could say that. Sure.
Okay. All right. Sure. Let's put in a plug for EIP then. if that's what it did for us, EIP, guided us through formative years of middle school to high school with mentorship and everything like that, all the way through college. So they provided us resources we needed as first generations. What does the term first generation mean to you?
First in the family to do everything.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. I always like to say I'm first for everything. First to go to high school, first to go to college, first to get my master's. All the things, I feel like.
What does being first at something mean? Like experience wise, how is it?
You don't have anybody guiding you.
Yeah.
You got to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Like for example, when trying to navigate graduating high school and transitioning to college.
Yeah.
It's a lot of decisions you're making, and the process of applying for financial aid, the process of even your college applications.
Yeah.
Those are things that mom and dad, for me, were not able to help me.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that they experience. And so they expected me to know what to do. But I was just a teenager.
Yeah.
I was trying to go to college, but I didn't really know how I was going to get there.
Yeah.
And that's where EIP came in and really helped mold me and helped with the financial aid applications, with the college applications, with all the things, really.
Yeah, definitely. EIP filled in the gap that was absent for us, because we wanted to go to college. We had the aspirations, the ambition, the goals. We were working hard, the work ethic and everything like that to go to college. But the question was, how do we get to college? And how do you pay for it?
Oh, yes. How do you pay for it?
Yeah.
How did EIP help you?
EIP provided me the similar resources as well. Mentorship, guidance throughout the college process and everything like that. Even took us on field trips and everything. Zero cost from me. All I had to do was just show up. Yeah. So, and then also, when I got accepted to George Mason University, they also provided me opportunities to apply for scholarships. I did not get the EIP scholarship, but they connected me with resources to help me apply for scholarships that I ended up winning, and helped me pay for my university.
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. I was awarded not an EIP scholarship, but it was Bailey Family Foundation.
Yeah.
Which was through EIP.
Yeah.
And they basically helped cover like half of my tuition.
Yeah.
And then it was renewal.
Yeah.
What is it? You can renew it?
Yeah.
What's the correct term?
Yeah, renewal.
It was
every year.
Every year I could renew.
Yeah.
And it would be the same thing.
Yeah.
So that was for all 4 years.
Yeah, that's the best type of scholarship or grant, the one that renews.
Yeah.
Either you get like a huge amount of scholarship upfront and it doesn't renew, or you get like a lump sum, be it, I don't know, 10,000, 5,000. But if it's renewal, it's gonna stick with you throughout. It's amazing. That's good.
Yeah.
So basically, this is an introductory episode, right? It's basically we wanted the listeners to get to know who we are and the voices behind how we're doing it, and we want the listeners to know our background story. You and I met through the early identification program at George Mason University in Fairfax, and through that we got to know each other, and one thing led to the other. We ended up getting married in 2019, and we've been married for about now over 4 years, going into 5 years, and then we have a daughter who is 2 years old.
Yes.
And so you have a master's degree. I have a master's degree. You have a master's degree in education, special education, focusing specifically on
visual impairments.
Student with visual impairments. That's awesome. And I have a master's degree in public health, MPH, epidemiology. So this is our story, and we worked very hard to get to where we are right now. We started out, you can say that we started out zero. All right. We immigrated from our respective countries, came to this country to start life, and with very little guidance. And we've been able to utilize the resources around us, support system, people around us, mentors, and basically capitalize on those resources to work hard and get to where we are. And so, and then we thought about the idea of, you can say that this is values that are instilled upon us by the early identification program or any other mentors that we've had growing up. To when you learn something and you get to a place in your life and you feel like you have enough experience that somebody else can benefit from it, we want to look back and be able to share that experience, be it knowledge, be it resources, so that we can impact the next person. And that's the essence of this podcast. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. When you pitched the idea to me, you were like, look, this is everything we've done. This is how much we've grown. Now let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, as being the first generation person, right? Like student, whatever you want to put after. Right. Being the first generation individual, you don't really have anyone guiding you there. Some of these topics are not topics that are commonly talked about in our communities, right? We're not talking that much about money. Now I feel like there's a little bit more awareness even than before. Yeah. But you know, it's topics that you're not really discussing sometimes with family members or with friends. So you pitch the idea as in, hey, this is what we've done. This is how far we've come. Why not share our story with others? Maybe people out there can benefit. And no, you know, I feel like in all of it, you instilled in me that at the end of the day, like, we're just sharing our story and how this process has been for us, right? Like, everybody's story and everything is different, but we're just sharing how it's working for us and really how we're doing it.
Right, exactly. And the goal is, even if it's one person that listens to it and they find value in it and they think it benefits them, that's the goal. And people ask all the time, so who is your audience? The audience is me and you. Yeah, the audience is me and you. So this is information that we wish we knew coming up. And to some extent, you could make the argument that this is information that we've learned through different people, different experiences, different mentorship programs, and we just want to share it. And we just think about it, you know, if we were literally this like years ago. And so now we're just looking back to share these experiences. We want to share experiences around how we got married, pretty much without taking a loan. You want to share that experience. Want to share experiences on the importance of having life insurance. We want to share experiences, the importance of getting out of debt. We want to share experiences, the importance of going to college, and how do you do that? How do you go to college without taking too much debt? We want to share experiences on how to live a lifestyle of debt-free lifestyle, not taking consumer debt, as you call it. You know, these are all experiences. We want to share experiences of how being new parents, being immigrant parents in the United States, what that looks like, being young parents. How do you navigate those different things? How do you balance your life, parenting, working, and then also home life? Yeah, being a spouse to your partner in a healthy way. So there are a bunch of different topics, different areas that we would like to go into in this podcast. And so we wanted to do this introduction so that the listener get to know who we are, and then hopefully along the way we also get to know who the listeners are, so that they can recommend or suggest different topics that they like to hear that we can also cover if we have expertise on. If we don't have expertise on a particular issue, we'll do our due diligence or research to make sure that we're vast enough into it before we cover it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what this podcast is about. It's that's why we titled it. It's intentional that we called it How We're Doing It, because we're sharing things that we're currently doing or things that we've done in retrospect, and ensure that we've done it or we're going to do it, and that's the things that we share. So
and I think it's just about like the biggest thing for us is just being honest, raw,
right,
and just being ourselves.
Right.
This is who we are. This is, our marriage. When we sit here and share our story, like, this is how it's happening. We're not sugarcoating anything. We're not.
Yeah, it's raw. No script.
Yeah, there's no script. We don't have anything in front of us. Maybe just like bullet points of, ideas you want to touch on.
Right.
But nothing where you wrote out exactly word for word what we're going to say, because there's no such thing.
No, because life doesn't have a book.
Not at all. None of these topics have
people write
a book.
Yeah, people write all they can, but
a handbook, we should say.
Yeah, people can write all they can about different topics and everything like that, but the real experience is living it. Lived experience. And sometimes the book may have it in theory, but in practical terms, it's different. Application.
Yeah.
So, anything else before we wrap up this episode?
I just hope, that our listeners, if they can take away at least one thing, from one of our episodes, I think that'll make me happy.
That's awesome. And we're going to leave it right there. Thank you for listening to another episode of How We're Doing It. This is the introductory episode. We want to hear from you. Contact us at hwdipodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment. If you like the show, consider subscribing in order to get notified of new episodes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next episode.
Mama. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.